Phenomenal.
You can get it in a hole or up a pole. You can get it doing nothing at all. A hard-earned thirst needs a big cold beer. And the best cold beer is Vic. A long cold Vic.
It's so hard to have a gay time on your own.
It could be that great chalk and biscuit coating.
It's so hard to have a gay time on your own.
It could.
I'm Danny, and I'm here to call out all you crack pack bitches. You think I don't see you there? I'm the OG of this shit. But you come after the king, you better come correct. I'm Danny, motherfucker. Who are you? Crack pack. You smoke crack. You better watch your back.
I am a maverick. I am a savage. I am a legend. I am a madman. You never know what I'm going to do next. I am a mad lad.
Welcome, all you mad lads and bogans out there. Holy cow, 130 people watching, and we haven't even started. Love it. Love to see it. Welcome to the show. The big man himself, the Frog Father, will be joining us momentarily. We'll be going through Blood Honey. And in case you didn't hear, in case you weren't watching Ethan's show just earlier, yes, he did very blessedly send me a preview copy so that I could read Wrecked Planet. And my goodness, you guys are gonna flip. This is gonna be so much fun. This show is gonna be perfect. Just we can dive into Blood Honey. We can ask Ethan things that maybe we don't understand or know, and then we can all get ready to get our hands on Wrecked Planet, which I hear is coming very, very soon. So I don't know how many of you I'll be able to say hello to with 150 people in here already, but I'll say hello to Noran Rad because he was first and foremost of you all. Actually, I don't even have my overlay on. Oh my goodness. All right, there it is. I'll move that over there. Noran Rad, first among all 150. Well done. Well done, my friend. We've got Jeremy Burt's in the house. Gary G's here. Survive Infinity. I'm going to say hello to Enrique says EVS raid. Woo! Oh, and we're also just getting a raid from Zaid Comics. Thank you so much, Phil and Brandon. Thank you. Mo Biggs, unfortunately, won't be able to stick around for the show, but I want to say hail, Mo. My goodness, so many new faces in the chat here. If you haven't subscribed, please do. I do streams these days about 4 or 5 nights a week, plus videos and all sorts of stuff. CG, indie comics, pop culture, I guess. I even make cartoons once in a blue moon. Payne Davis says comics were a mistake, not this comic. Absolutely not. Cyberfrog got Crom here, Raiden Radio. Get over it. Oh, we are also simulcast live on Rumble. I see Get Over It, Virgil, Luca are already over there hanging out in the alternative spaces. So if you want to help build up that channel over there, please do go over there and give that a subscribe as well. But I'm just gonna have to straight up apologize to, a good 95% of you. I won't be able to say hello to you because we're already 5 minutes in. I need to send Ethan the link. We need to get the man in here and get the show started because there's so much to talk about on in Blood Honey. And now that I know what happens in Wrecked Planet, there's so much to talk about there, but we can't spoil any of it. I think I might have to do an actual review. Talk about it like that. Those other guys did do a video Ethan has the link. All right, that's good. I'll say hello to Lama Gigante in there. I was looking for you. We got my wife here, General Piggy. It's so good to see all of you. All right, I hear a boop. You know what that means? Hold on, let me get rid of this comment here. That means this.
Merry Christmas, Comic Skate. Merry Christmas, Comic Skate. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas to all of you.
Merry Christmas. It feels good, doesn't it? We've got our tree up. Have you got your tree up yet?
Not yet. Not until after Thanksgiving.
Oh, yes, you want to do Thanksgiving here, so we don't have such rules.
What do you have to be thankful for? You know, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you're in Australia. You're not an American like we are. Americans.
America. That is true. No, I asked Mel, she used to, I might get the tree out. I said, are you going to put it up? You know, if you get it out, you're going to put it up. And, you know,
I always say that to my wife. That's exactly right.
Exactly. How you going, Ethan?
Good. I ordered some hamburgers. They came just in time. I told them, I said, Wayback Burgers, you got to listen to me. I got to be on Bancroft's at 9:05. And this was at 8:30.
They said, Bancroft's? You got to be on Bancroft's?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
I said, I need those hamburgers here at least 15 minutes ahead of that so I can throw them down my face and be on time.
I just want to give a massive thank you to D in the chat who's gifted 20 friggin' memberships. That ain't cheap. That is incredible. Thank you so much, D. That's huge. Whenever someone gives me something like that, Ethan, I just like to give them a good old Australian cheers.
Well, cheers, biggies.
Phenomenal. All right, we have 220 people in here. This is I've done these shows before, but I want to like start picking them up a bit more again. Talking about comics. A couple of weeks ago, we did the Lost Pages 2 with the Diaz brothers. I saw Ethan in the chat. He was like, "Oh, this is cool." So I extended the invitation out to Ethan, and very thankfully he said yes. Let's get on here and do it. And it's a great time to do it because I've seen that the books, Wreck Planet books, are at the printer. You've got the chromium covers all in and everything. So it all seems to be going full steam ahead. Is it? Do you think you'll be getting to starting fulfillment before Christmas?
Yes, definitely before Christmas. I'm hoping we actually send the first books out at the end of this month. That's my hope. I can't guarantee it because they said they're going to be finished on the 23rd. Then they got to come my way, ship my way. But boy, would that be great to get the first batch of Wreck Planets out in the mail. 400 or 500 of them out there in the mail.
Jim Cox for 5 says, Santa, wash that soot out of your beard. You will scare the children. The beard is controversial. I don't know why.
Well, because, the people in the chat are like my children in many ways. They've grown up with me. And they've seen me with the white beard. It's unfamiliar.
Yeah.
When I dye it.
I hear. All right. Well, it's time to engage the dive cam and I've got a little spread here of some of your works here. Let me go put it into a good setting here. How do I do that? There it is. I'm gonna have to pull this. Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. That looks good. That's as focused as I can get it. These are. I won't be reading these copies. These are special. These are the chromium editions. You got Salamandroid and Cyberfrog over here. And Ethan, these are all the cards I've gotten from you over the years. I just wanted to show them off to the people there. It's not all of them. I'm not a Patreon. I am a YouTube member. But and plus a bunch of other they come in the packages and stuff like that. But these are it's quite a few. It's quite a few. But these are part of my prize collection of CG books that I've got here.
I'm proud
to be part of show them off.
Yeah,
no, absolutely. I'm gonna have to very carefully move these over to the side because I only have one copy of each of these. I don't want to do anything untoward to them. I am going to read my we're going to flick through my what cover was this called? The
It's called the team up.
Fist-
We call that the team
Team
up or
Up.
the fist bump cover, but
Yeah.
I think we started just calling it team ups when Andrew and I would say, "I need 3 team ups signed." She'd yell down at the basement at me. And I'd say, "Okay, sweetheart, team ups. Here they are." So we call them team up covers.
Christopher Gore for 5 says hashtag Comicsgate always wins. And he's put a lot of suns in there, no doubt, for the human sunbeam, in honor of the human sunbeam. We've got 250 people in the chat. If you could like the stream, share it out, tell everyone. We've got Ethan in here. We're just going to jump right into friggin' Cyberfrog Blood Honey in the lead up to Wrecked Planet. Before we start, Ethan, I saw you responding to my DM earlier about my response to Wrecked Planet. I'm happy to do an actual video where I might do like more of a review if you're happy to do that. Obviously a spoiler-free review. Yeah. If you're happy for me to do that, absolutely.
Yeah, sure, definitely. I would love to hear your expanded and expounded upon thoughts about it. You're one of about 6, maybe 7 people who have read it so far outside of my direct circle of my family. Trust you. I wanted to hear what your thoughts were. Now, if you hated it, I would have just been like, I wouldn't have said anything. I would have just been like,
that would have made for an awkward stream.
Yeah, it would have been weird. I would have been like,
All right, so we're going to start off in here. We're going to start off with Kelsin. I've actually pre-made a few, like just a couple of questions that I had. Because I've got you here, and anyone can just read the book, but not everyone has the actual creator here. Perdani, that's the planet that Kelsin is from, correct?
Yeah.
And is that an actual planet, or are they a race of? Well, I don't know if they're creatures or cybernetic things, or do we know about that yet? Have you expounded on that?
Well, there's a clue about what the planet actually is and why it was safe from the Vespers right there on that splash page that you won't realize until later. Maybe issue 4, you'll start to understand why. No, it's the Sinma, 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 are a race of biologically techno creatures. They're a lot like they're nurturing kind of bovine creatures who can carry the Pyrdanians' unformed fetal masses in their wombs. It's just an interesting thing they're able to do. And so you'll see what the Pyrdanians look like in Salamandroid Death's Sting #1. You get a nice look at them. They don't look like techno beings, not at all. They're flesh and blood, so they exist side by side. There are it's like Earth. There are a lot of different kind of inhabitants of Perdani.
I like that what you just said there about how you see it right there. It's written, it's hidden in plain sight, but you don't know about it until afterwards. I had a couple of moments of that in Wrecked Planet as well. I was like, oh, all right, yeah. I go back and yes, yeah, okay, because that something. I know it's not like it's just like you don't fully understand it obviously until you get a bit more. But that's something that everyone can look forward to as well. So yeah, the book starts off. You've got Kelsin coming into Earth and landing in the Pine Barrens, which I've learned about now, having watched your channel. I had no idea what the Pine Barrens were and the history and everything like that. There, the Jersey Devil. So Kelsin comes in and lands right there in a swamp, and because of the whole, there's a basically running out of time. That's the thing. It's like they thought they had more time, but and am I getting that right? That now they just have to connect.
Again, you'll understand why there was such a rush in Salamandroid Death's Sting. See, when it comes to the world building here, it's all going to make sense. Pieces are all going to fit together. There are a lot of things that are in Blood Honey that you're kind of like, why? Well, you'll find out why in Death's Sting. But, the idea was to have the Cyberman down here on Earth, and he'd have 4 years. They didn't know when the Vespers were coming, but they were coming soon. They were tracking their movements across the universe towards Earth and other planets as well. They were in a big rush to get a guy down here, get him acclimated to the planet. And put him in the position that he needed to be in to stop the Vespers. So it was quick, and they sent Chalcin to the woods because they'd understood that there would be Boy Scouts in the woods. There would be good-hearted young men who were strong, who had the right sense of morality. They call Superman, the big blue Boy Scout. That's kind of what they were looking for. They were hoping to make a Cyberman modeled after one of these Boy Scouts that they'd heard about. And that's why Chalcin went to the woods, but there weren't any. I mean, it's like the idea that there would be Boy Scouts in the woods all the time. Not always.
A little bit of a misunderstanding of human culture.
Right.
Did you ever like just show what Cyberfrog might have looked like if he had been a human? Has anyone ever seen
Salamandroid Death Sting #1.
Oh, excellent. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that as I was rereading this. I'm like, I want to see like what it would actually look like, because obviously he's got a pretty distinctive friggin' his how Cyberfrog is. I do not envy you having to draw that in all the different permutations.
Oh, I love it though, man. I love my characters so much. I really have fun drawing them and writing them. It's a blast. I got to write these 4 pages for Cyberfrog deleted scenes, and I had 4 pages. I had to kind of piece them together and make them into a 4-page sequence that actually worked without missing pages. I think I did an okay job of that, but it was so fun to write them again. I told Andrew, I was like, I love them. I'm writing Rainbow the Brute right now, drawing and writing Rainbow the Brute. So getting to work on that stuff again was really kind of refreshing. It was nice.
You love the writing process?
Yeah, I like it a lot more than I thought I would. Yeah.
To me, it's the best part of the whole process for me. I mean, I kind of came into it through the writing and sort of have had to teach myself how to do art. You've obviously come in from the opposite direction.
Yeah, like really talented and.
Well, I mean, I didn't just pick up a pen like 5 years ago. I was doing art and t-shirts and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, no, I jumped onto YouTube and was like, all right, how do you draw heads and hands and all this sort of stuff? And I mean, I've got all my whole comic collection to kind of look on and say, well, how is this guy drawn water or whatever? And I would just do something similar. But I love it. The whole world building, especially if you love it. I've always said this about you. The number one Cyberfrog fan in the world is Ethan Van Sciver. And I think that has gone a long way to explain the success of this book. Because the way you talk about it is really infectious. But we see Cyberfrog for the first time here coming online. He's a bit like a fawn, on their legs when they're a bit wobbly.
He's a frog. He's got a mix of a frog's and the potential for a human intellect, because he was meant to be a human, and he's half Perdani at the same time. So he's a hybrid of all those things. So he's croaking like a frog when he first shows up. He doesn't know the English language, and he has to have that programmed and uploaded into his processor. That's something that Chalcin does right away. And first she teaches him English, and then she teaches him how to talk like he's from Philadelphia.
Yeah, I like that. It's like the local dialect. And then actually, that's something I mentioned to you in the comment, was like that personality of Cyberfrog. It's so the two things don't look like they should go together. A character like this, and then the way he talks and his whole personality, but it actually really grounds the whole story. Because if you read the old 90s Cyberfrog stuff, the first one I ever read was the Ambiphonics. Is that how you say it? The Ashcan Amphibionics. Sorry. And then a bit of the warts and all stuff. Yeah, it's a lot zanier. It's a lot more 90s. It's a lot more just crazier. Whereas this new stuff that you're doing, it's heavy because it's about the end of the world. But like Cyberfrog, that whole his sort of humor is it's a good way to keep it not so serious all the time. I've enjoyed that reading in Cyberfrog. So he's waking up, he's meeting his mother. Here we see the creature that will become his brother, the salamander here. And this I'm really excited about coming up. All this stuff.
Yep.
Because especially when people read Wrecked Planet and they see the reality of what he's up against. Like, yeah, I really am looking forward to eventually seeing like some of that stuff come into play. There's a little bit of it, but yeah, it's like it's super cool. We get to see, you know, the full Cyberfrog when he's completely linked up to his mother here. You know, there's one thing I liked when I very first read this. He was setting up a kind of a joke because she's telling him about the Vespers and everything, and then you did a page turn here where she's you know saying how bad they are and everything they do and everything, and then you turn the page and it's like, oh, they sound like jerks. I was like, when I read that, because when I got to here, I'm like, this needs a joke right now.
Yeah, it's so heavy.
It needs it needs something, and then bang, first panel. Oh, they sound like jerks. I was like, yes,
it's the 90s, right? It's like, yeah, but you know, the next two panels are really, really super important. You know, they you know,
these two.
Yes, if you remember what Cyberfrog asks her and what Chelson says back to him, kind of determines where he's going to go in the future. It's you know, it's like, what exactly are my obligations to these people? Like, how do I? Again, it's all Wreck Planet stuff, but
well, let me just read it here. It says, "Tell me more about the humans. What do they want?" And she says back, "That's a complicated question. Most people want the freedom to live as they choose without fear." That's you're right. You know, that's kind of the linchpin of the whole thing, of the conflict, especially in Wrecked Planet, going forward. Yeah, you're right. That's very important. And so now he's meeting his brother, his big brother, his little brother, who's big,
right?
Because he was born second.
Yeah.
Big splash page meeting Salamandroid. Are you my mother?
Yeah, he's a big puppy dog. He's modeled after kind of a Great Dane. You know, I had a Great Dane who was a gentle giant, good dog, and he would bark. His bark was like scary, you know. But he wouldn't hurt anyone, I don't think. I never seen him hurt anyone. Salamandroid would hurt people. He's allowed to. Chelson is basically explaining to Cyberfrog that you must always protect the humans. You must be prepared to die for the humans. So you're not allowed to kill. And then here comes Salamandroid, and she says, you can figure it out. If there's a human who's messing with your brother in a way that's going to get in the way of fulfilling his mission, kill him. You know, that's your job. So, you know, it's an interesting contrast. Like, Salamandroid is the Secret Service, the bodyguard, the guard dog, best friend, loyal friend of his brother, Cyberfrog. And he will do anything to make sure that Cyberfrog's mission gets completed.
Yeah, Cyberfrog's there to save the Earth, and Sal is there to protect Cyberfrog, essentially. That's right. That's the sort of what I get from it. And here we go. We see them now. They're here. They're in the world, and Chelson stays in the swamp from here on. That's where she exists. That's sort of like her home kind of.
She's the internet, so she represents the internet. And again, you know, this takes place right around the time of the birth of the internet. You know, in real time in the 90s. When people were starting to use chat rooms and the internet became a way to communicate with people much more quickly. She doesn't want to be seen. She doesn't need to be seen. The internet doesn't need to be seen. It just needs to be there and be connectable. So she's going to hide in the swamp and just always be in tune with him. When he's out on a mission, they need to stay connected to each other. Cyberfrog needs to be online.
And here we get a little bit of a glimpse of what Cyberfrog's life is. A lot of these pages, when I read it the first time, I got the feeling there was more going on, and it wasn't only until later that I think what you were doing here, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you were sort of condensing a lot of the previous existing Cyberfrog lore, or sort of his character, into some pages so that people can move on with this story. So
it's almost like the beginning of the Lord of the Rings movie, where it's like going really fast through, you know, we don't need to see that Cyberfrog is being kicked around by people. Of course he is. He's trying his best to help, and he's just hideous. I mean, even your boy Zach said he's a monster. The Jawbreakers would kill him. They'd never work with him. You know, it's like that's who he is.
Well, that that's kind of what happens in Wreck Planet too, as well. I mean, again, I don't know want to get into spoilers. Like when
No
he's,
spoilers. I mean,
you know,
but that's who the character is. Like he's, he means well. He doesn't understand how people are going to respond to him, and he doesn't understand. He wasn't expecting it, so he gets a bit of a bad attitude, and he becomes the anti-hero of the 90s, essentially. It's like,
Yeah.
all the characters of the 90s that would just kill people. They were always in a bad mood. Everything was dark all the time. That's who Cyberfrog is becoming until he meets Heather. Now, this page is entirely a dream sequence. That's the first time I've said that.
Oh.
So that
'Cause
page,
I have.
yeah.
Okay, go on. I have this. I have What's and All,
Right.
and I found in the original one, where you've got sort of this story in more depth and detail, and who this Ben character is, and what he becomes, and all that sort of stuff. So okay, well, okay, all right, that's new.
So what you're seeing there is it's happening on a different level. It's happening in it's not happening the way that it looks like it's happening there. Okay? It's more representative of something else. Does that make any sense? After reading Wreck Planet, do you have any clue? You understand?
Now that you've said that, I'll have to go back and read it again with that in mind.
Okay.
Because that actually, I have a question, because I do also want to get to the 1998 Diary of Heather Swain as well.
Yeah,
and
sure.
there's a panel in that where I had a question. Is like, why does she see that?
Why do you think?
Like, what's going on there?
What do you think what do you think he might represent?
I mean, I just off the top of my head, I'd say like fear or something like that. But it might be something more tangible. I don't know, because there's things happening in the book that I've only really just starting to put my fingers on, and sort of like there's a character that you introduced in Wreck Planet that I really didn't know what was going on as I started to read it, and then at the end of the book, I'm like, all right, now the pieces are like falling into place here. Okay, interesting. All right. Yeah, because I must admit, the first time I read Blood Honey, this was the most discombobulating section of it for me, because
It's all going to make
like
sense.
you said,
Yeah.
like you said, you're trying to condense the history of Cyberfrog into.
Well, you got to make
the
first Cyberfrog series from the 90s when they literally go to hell together. You know what I mean? They fight a gay Satan. Like that didn't happen. And like it didn't happen that way. That couldn't happen in Cyberfrog's world. There is supernaturality, like in his supernaturalism in Cyberfrog's world, but it exists in a kind of a pagan sort of way. It exists in sort of a, there's alien high technology, okay? And there's that. And then is this person psychic? Is there such a thing as witchcraft? There's that kind of a thing. But other than that, there's no, we're going to hell and, demons and all that. That doesn't, that isn't a thing. So, making sense of that and making that sort of work within the character of who Heather Swain is and what her motivations are, is something that's going to be explained over the course by Wreck Planet. At the end of Wreck Planet, you should probably have a pretty good inkling of what's going on with Heather. But we'll compound that with the third book, and we'll make it pretty damn fucking clear what's up with Heather by the third book.
I feel like I'm gonna have to read it again now. Read the whole thing from like the start of this one too, and then see if I can pick up on exactly what you're saying. Because if it's all in there, I love that sort of stuff. But we get a little glimpse of them now. They're sort of like a little trio.
What does she say to the bus driver? The bus driver says, "This is a dangerous part of town." And what does Heather say to him as she's leaving?
She says, "I'm not scared of nothing, anything.
Trying to improve myself, but I don't have any fear. I'm not afraid of anything anymore. I don't have any fear." And why is that? I mean, look at her friend. She's got this great pal, this friend, and the two of them have a great relationship together where, he turns to her for nourishment and she turns to him for adventure. and a place to go, friendship. So that's their kind of relationship. She brings him food, and they have nice conversations together. He really loves her. He cares about her, and she's just there because she wants to escape. He represents escapism and a good time, adventure. So that's what their friendship is kind of built on. And she's not afraid. Like she's without fear through this, which is important because remember what Chelsin said a little while ago.
Yes, about they want to live without fear.
Yeah.
Which is definitely a theme that runs through the whole thing. Matt is asking who colored this. It looks good. Oh, it's the estimable Carl Ritter.
No, unbelievable.
Colors everything.
Yeah.
And
couldn't do it without him.
This one led by Somni.
That's Somni, and I will say it's beautiful exotic lettering. But one of the complaints that people had was that it became hard to read in some places because the lettering was so esoteric that it was just difficult. And so when we were, and not only that, a few spelling errors got through. Comicsgate had a little bit of a problem where, in terms of editorial, like we're letting mistakes get through and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I did have Eric Weathers go back. We edited it. We were careful. I modified a few things to make a few moments a little bit more clear with dialogue. And then he relettered it in a very simple way. And one of the main things that he did was he made Chelsin's word balloons pink rather than also yellow and green. The two were conflicting.
Yeah,
you couldn't
right.
tell who was talking, Chelsin or Cyberfrog. I mean, you look there, those look like Cyberfrog balloons almost when she's talking. So we wanted to make that easier to,
yeah, definitely. I can see that. Yeah, no, Eric's letters were incredible in Rex Plan. I'm actually wearing his T-shirt in honor.
Yes, Eric is great.
He really nailed it.
He's quick and his stuff is clean and it's it's really easier. So the new version, which is printed in Cyberfrog, Ultimate Cyberfrog Blood Honey, is Eric Weathers letters with a few corrections and things like that.
And now, so just remind me here what's happening because it's been a while since I read this one. So we're going now to Chelsin, and is this her talking in the present? Because you started talking about how I failed you, and now I die.
You'll have to wait and see. That's an important question.
Yeah,
but
I look at this big splash. Her surrounded by the Vespus hives.
She's been captured. Yeah, how long has she been there? We don't know. But she's there and she's saying, "Look, I'm about to die. I've held out as long as I can. I've waited for these boys to come and save me. They're not coming." But the one thing she wanted to do, the whole opening, 20 pages chapter was her recording and recounting what she had done here. So if you find her corpse, she's got some kind of recorded device there that tells you all about Cyberfrog, Heather Swain, and Salamandroid, what they meant to do, how they tried, and how they failed. And that's what that all was. So it's just a neat way for me, I think, to just tell the story up until this point real quick. Like, who was Cyberfrog? Yeah. Why is he here? Okay, part 2, we begin the story.
And straight away, I remember watching you draw this, actually. And this just came out magnificently. So these are the Vespus
hive ships,
I guess. Hive ships. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the invasion begins. We meet a unfortunate couple down in the Pine Barrens.
Jersey types. They're waiting for somebody. They're waiting for something. And they're just smoking. Who knows what it is, but they're waiting for their friends to show up, probably to buy drugs. And they're waiting.
What goes on down in the Pine Barrens?
Yeah, we call them Pineys here. They're the equivalent of kind of hillbillies. You see them. We're right on the outskirts of the Pine Barrens, so if we go a little bit east, we'll run into some Pineys, and they drive pickup trucks. They're, I love them. They're all Trump supporting conservatives. They all have MAGA, on the back of their trucks and stuff, but they're a little rough around the edges. The Pineys are. They're
up to unsavory matters out there in the trees. That's all right. That's their business. Mm-hmm. So now we hear. So this is like this would be in 98. Yeah, I'm assuming.
It's 1998. This is the last day of civilization. You're looking at it here because Chelsin's
alert. All the animals are going crazy. The invasion is here.
Chelsen's connected to nature. She's actually her brand of internet connects herself not to other computers, the way ours do, but every living being on planet Earth is connected to Chelsen. She can feel their worry. She can feel, all of that. And she informs Cyberfrog. It's a way of super connectivity that lets him know where problems are, where he might be needed. So that's who she is. And thus, she's the ultimate empath. Chelsen is a woman. Chelsen is a mother. Chelsen is like nurturing. She's not a warrior. Okay. I mean, that's just, she has the ability to kick some ass, but she has a big heart, and that's her problem. That's her downfall. And then you have
she has a literal heart. It's important to the story.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly right.
So she's connected to. Now, this is how we know he's connected. Is that correct? With the red.
The lights come on. Yeah,
the lights come on. Yeah,
and they orbit him. They're just little three-dimensional lights.
When he's connected to the internet, he can heal. He has access to information he otherwise wouldn't have. He has the. Is that when he has those cool weapons and stuff like that?
Yeah, like she'll decide for him what he needs. He doesn't really get to choose. But like he'll be in a situation, she'll recognize the threat, and she'll rapid evolve him. She'll adapt him to handle any problem, any crisis. And you've seen it a little bit before. He'll change, he'll grow weapons and things like that. But he has, like she says, he has it within him uniquely. Salamandroid doesn't have it. Cyberfrog had it uniquely within him to turn back the Vespus. We don't know what that means. But it could just mean a flamethrower.
I'm excited to see. It's the Vespus are. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm just going to say they are formidable. Formidable enemy. All right, so here we're seeing Cyberfrog jumping into action with this beautiful double page spread, and this is where it's cool that it's actually a Saddle Stitch comic book and not a perfect bound graphic novel, because half of this would be swallowed up. But this looks great. There was another sort of, I remember this being a criticism, that the size of the lettering's kind of like scaled up.
That's another thing. Yeah, like he didn't understand to keep the balloons the same size. So when I had a double page spread, the balloons became massive as though that were just a panel on a page. And it's another thing. And it ended up covering up a lot of artwork that it didn't need to. So Eric fixed all that. I think it's better now.
So this is a cool little, I like this this is an interesting way of not only saying the date, but it also ties into a little bit of, I mean, I don't know if this is on purpose, but like the 1998 Diary of Heather Swain, it's sort of like, this is, you can kind of see the other side of what was happening in that ash can as well. This is more Cyberfrog's perspective of that night, essentially. Mm-hmm. And, we're seeing like he's coming back. They're eating at that. She works at the chicken fry.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Yeah. And she uses Chelsen's heart to power the TV.
Yeah. Chelsen's like a cow in that cows have multiple stomachs. She has multiple hearts, but there's one. Obviously, if that were her only heart, she probably wouldn't be able to function. But there's one of them, and it's an infinite power to a super battery. It can power anything, and they're just plugging shit into it. They've got free energy all through the 90s.
So they're just hanging out, watching Clinton on the news. Mm-hmm. And it was during the Lewinsky situation. And there's Sal just poking his head in through the side of the side of the building.
He doesn't know, like Sal's been there the whole time. Cyberfrog just hasn't noticed him. Like he's been sitting there waiting to be noticed. He's like, what? Sal's like, hey. So Heather tells him, like, look, I told you Sal's here to visit you, and you don't listen to me, You never listen. Cyberfrog just is distracted, all the time.
I like this sequence. You get a bit of a feeling of their dynamic and everything, and what's going on. And at this time, this is where I want to ask you. At this time, what Cyberfrog is essentially he's out there fighting against people they're part of the Rush Hour.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them are kind of insect related villains. Is that because insects are the kind of what frogs eat? Is that how that came about originally?
Well, I think that's why. Yeah, that's why you would, if you have a frog book, their villains should be insects and things that are related to fables about frogs, like Frog and the Scorpion. That's why Scorpion is a scorpion. You know, things like that. I mean, you want to play that out a little bit, but also there's a story reason why. You know, and again, Death Sting. Death Sting is like half of it seems to be about Scorpion, and the other, because he stings, and the other half seems to be about Salamandroid. And really, it's going to answer a ton of questions for people.
Yeah, and Scorpion is a really intriguing character. You don't get to see like huge amounts of him later on, but like what you see, very intriguing. You just got Rumblebee, Pollen-8. I've listed them here. Tromedeus. Now he's a bit different. He's not an insect man, but he's like I think that was in the 98 in the diary. He's like playing friggin' Hanson or something on the piano to torture people.
Yeah, he plays terrible music to annoy people. Yeah, loud. That's all he does.
Then there's also Shockroach, Scorpion we mentioned, and Deathfly. They're the ones that I found. And,
Earwig.
Earwig.
Earwig isn't in there. Earwig makes his first appearance in the modern comics in the deleted scenes book. So he'll be in there. But I don't think he makes it into I don't think he makes it into either of these two big books.
But yeah, that's sort of like they're all the bad guys that at this time, that's who he was fighting. That's obviously all about to change. So they hear that I think who was out there on the bridge?
Rumblebee.
Rumblebee.
And Pollen-8.
So they jump into action. They're gonna go, you think, okay, this is just gonna be a superhero, a comic book, good guys fighting the bad guy situation, but no. At the exact same moment, here come the Vespers in a gigantic, immeasurable number to start their invasion. And this lass, both of them. I like how you don't pull the punches either.
Yeah, this is meant to show you what not to do and maybe what you should do. Like, this is where the rules are, essentially. Like, this guy just turns around. He's not prepared for this. He gets stung. They show you what they will do to you. Okay, they'll sting you. They'll paralyze you. They'll turn you into paper, wet, pulpy human flesh as paper, and stick you to something. They build something out of you. She, on the other hand, what is she doing? She's smoking. She's wearing red. Okay, now those are two great things. She starts a fire, and the Vespa starts to cough because they don't do well around fire, just like wasps don't. She's wearing red. They don't even notice her. They're not looking for her. They're not going to give her any trouble. But what happens is, poor Chelsin can't even stand to see one human get killed. And so she comes out of the lake like guns blazing, like, I can't take it, because she's a woman. And they shouldn't be. Basically, as much as this book worships femininity and motherhood, what it's also saying is you shouldn't put a woman in charge of a war. Like, that's the thing. Like, because emotions are going to get involved. Like, she couldn't stand to see one person die. She reveals herself and causes, a big commotion, draws attention to herself. And the Vespers, spoiler alert, they already know how this whole thing goes down. They were looking for her. So, all right. So there you go. So she's wearing red. And what does she do? She panics. She runs. She starts screaming and runs.
One of the rules.
Yeah. So there it is. They see her that way. They find her, and they're able to kill her because, that's what it is. She came out of the trees, and yeah.
Feed them to their little babies, and she's seen better days. That's it for her, I think. See, now we get to we've seen what the Vespers are up to. And now here we are with Rumblebee on the bridge. They've got a bomb that they're carrying over the bridge. So that's what Cyberfrog and Sal are up to. That's what they're contending with at the moment.
Yeah, they're delivering a bomb to Scorpion. You'll find out more about that, what that was all about. Here we go. Like, Cyberfrog's just like, what are you doing? These guys are nuts. They're just throwing grenades and shit like assholes. I don't even know why they're doing that. They're just dickheads, the Pollen-8. And so Cyberfrog's just like, again, protecting humans. You could have hurt people. Why are you like this? Why are you like this? And they start shooting Cyberfrog. So Sal obviously set off.
Now you're Pollen 7, you B-boys.
It crushes them with a
Aren't
Ford
even
Taurus.
real, just robots.
Yeah. You don't have feelings. I don't mind doing this to you.
And so they're having their big fight, kicking ass and everything like that. Meanwhile, Clinton is like, God damn.
So Clinton, this is like the moment where Clinton was caught lying. And it's significant
The
in a
actual
way.
moment, they cut the live feed, they say.
No. He lied. He told the American people that, I did not have sex with that woman. And then he lied in front of Congress, and he had to come on TV in the most humiliating moment of his presidency and confess to the American people that he did lie to them. And that changed everything for me. I mean, when I saw that, I couldn't believe it. I just thought that was incredible that a president would have to sit there in front of the American people and admit that he lied to them. So that's happening, and he's about to finish his speech when the Secret Service come in and they take him away because Washington, D.C., like every other place, is under attack. And there's Philadelphia from above.
And this is when, I know it's set in a different universe. Obviously, it's got Cyberfrog, but this is when any sort of resemblance to anything that we might recognize diverges.
Changes, right, yeah.
Exactly.
So it's when history changes.
Yeah, there's nothing after that. And now, check out this thread. Holy cow. Forgot about this one. So here you got Sal and Cyberfrog. This is it. The noise, the buzzing.
The confusion of it is what I really like the most, because sadly, it confused readers too. They're like, wait, they're fighting characters that look like the Vespas. Yeah, that's right. And they're confused. They're just like you. They're like, Cyberfrog even says, "Are you doing this, Rumblebee? Is this you?" And he's like, "What are you, fucking nuts? I can't do this. I'm like a street level punk. Like, what's going on? That's not me." So there's a whole lot of confusion. It's an interesting coincidence that Cyberfrog and Salamandroid are fighting like Pollinate and Rumblebee when this happens, but that's just an accident of coincidence there.
Yeah.
And it just throws them off. I mean, the whole thing throws them off. They were not ready for this.
So, all right. Now, take me through these pages. I must admit, these were like you just mentioned, these were the bits that were a little bit ambiguous to me when I first read it. So, essentially, now all hell breaks loose. Now the Vespas are here in massive numbers. And their fight, obviously, with the other guys has ended, but the bombs are still there, and that does play an important part of the equation going forward.
Yeah, accidentally, and they're hearing now. Cyberfrog is like, okay, I'm ready. Like, if I'm the answer to this, I'm ready. And he's hearing Chelsin's last words as she's captured. He's hearing that. Yeah. He's like, what are you talking about? Like, he's like, I'm ready. Rapid evolve me, and then she's just cybernetics offline. It doesn't happen ordinarily. So he knows Chelsin's been taken out, and that's a real problem now.
So now they're all just basically overwhelmed. Sal's not handling it. The noise is deafening. Obviously, it's all craziness happening. And now they're starting to fight off actual Vespas here.
At this point, the swarm is so big that they've lost sight of each other. And again, this is Death's Sting. You're going to see this play out from Salamandroid's POV in Salamandroid Death's Sting. So you'll see what's going on with him. But Cyberfrog's lost sight of him, and he's just like, they're very smart, obviously. They took out Chelsin, they took out Salamandroid, and I'm on my own. And then he realized, they took me away from Heather. So, like, Heather's having worse problems than me. I got to get back to Heather. And as soon as he realizes that, some truck has just gone, the driver's gone crazy, smashes into the truck, the bomb, the weapon of mass destruction goes off, and essentially kills him. Yeah. So
now he's cast down into the river. He gets all this. I guess this is like a sort of preservation engaged thing here. Catastrophic damage, hibernation mode initiated, and the whereabouts or health of Sal. I mean, you can kind of see, is now completely unknown because this is from Cyberfrog's perspective. Like, you don't know what happened.
Yeah.
He's just down under the ground. And then in part 3, now, that he's waking up out of that, and you think, okay, cool, he's coming up, swimming up to the water, and then this classic, I remember this page from your the backsplash of your live streams, like this classic, just look at this. I mean, it's completely taken over. What was the time frame? It was 20 years, wasn't it?
20 years have gone by, since he just lost. He just failed. And I mean, that's like, to me, like, that was like a Planet of the Apes moment, like the end of Planet of the Apes, when you just go, fuck, what did I fucked up? Like, you wake up and you just see the end results of your failure. And that's what that is. I mean, everything that humans built that he can see, has just been papered over with shit. And just these, and it's the flesh. I mean, that's the most disgraceful part of it. It's the desiccated flesh of humanity covering over the things that they built. It's just infuriating. It's absolutely infuriating. Cyberfrog takes a minute to take that in, and then just
this is the first time we see the big power croak, thunder
croak. Yeah, he can do that. Like, he's just doing it in grief and fury right there, just like But it's one of his natural powers is thunder croak, which is just like a sonic, it hurts your ears. Yeah.
Great lettering here too. That really.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, Somni was really good. When he was good, and there are parts of this that, I think Eric did a nice job of replicating where the strengths of this comic, of Somni's work. But I mean, yeah, he was really artistic, Somni.
But he had a tracker on Heather, so now that's his first thing to do is find Heather. Where's Heather? I've got to go get her. Is she okay? And
then you see he's being watched. He's got the one panel where it's like, yeah.
Unfortunately, in his grief and his big croak, he's alerted the Vespers. So that will lead into Wrecked Planet. We go back to the Pine Barrens, where we meet for the first time young Lily and her friend here. And we just get a glimpse of where they're living and how they're living in these. Hang on, there's another page there. And then the Cyberfrog meets up with Lily, and then that's that ending, which is Mom, Cyberfrog is back. And
what an infuriating ending. How could I do that? I know, I just make you wait 2 years. That's crazy. When you see the current ending, when you see the ending to Wrecked Planet, you guys are going to hang me.
No, I don't think they will. No, I don't think they will. Like I said, and you already mentioned it, so I feel fine saying it. The ending made me feel a bit like Empire Strikes Back. The story, it's a complete story, but obviously it's not the end of the story. But man, yeah, you guys are gonna flip out, I reckon. I tell you, I mean, this isn't supposed to really be a critique, it's a sort of a deep dive, but this story, Blood Honey, it's this kind of a linear tale. I like what you used that analogy of Lord of the Rings. You start off with the first chapter, it's the prehistory. Then we go into chapters 2 and 3, and 3 is a very short chapter, but I mean, it's sort of, the kind of the end. Chapter 2 is the main bulk of what's happening, but it's sort of following Cyberfrog along. Wrecked Planet, however, is a lot more sophisticated story where you've got subplots. They're all happening at the same time, and you're wondering how they're linking together. I think. And plus, I didn't have that reaction when this ended. The first time I read it, I had. Now, where is it? I put it somewhere now. Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. I had this.
Oh, there's more. Yeah.
Which is like, okay, this actually fills in a lot that you might not have really known what was happening. But this is essentially the story, a little bit of the Vespers, so you get to see that they can actually inhabit people, or like some, something can inhabit people and act as their agents on Earth. You get to see how they were sort of staking out the Earth in the lead up to the invasion. You get to see what the whole soy bomb thing was, how that was sending a message back out to them, to tell them that, yeah, it's time to come. And I wasn't actually aware of the whole soy bomb thing. So I didn't have that connection to it, but since learning, I've since learnt about it and gone back and looked at it, because I think I was a bit too young when this actually happened to know about it. But yeah, you get a sense of a little bit more of what they're up to out there. You get to actually see them go out and they're fighting Tramadeus and the other who are these other guys here, Shockroach and Pollinate, those guys. But most importantly to me, you get to see what happened from Heather's point of view
after Cyberfrog left. Yeah,
exactly. What it was like, what the invasion was like for her. And that's where I think you get a lot of the what some people were saying were kind of missing bits of the main
See,
book.
that's what I like about the way I'm structuring, the way we're telling this story is there's the main book, and then there's a secondary book, like Salamandroid Death Sting is a secondary book that's going to give you all of this extra information that you'll be able to carry into, Cyberfrog 3. So you'll understand everything better. If you don't need it, you don't need this. But I mean, the fact that you read this helps you to understand a lot more of Heather's circumstances now when we see her again in Wreck Planet.
Exactly.
16 panel page. That was so fun, man. Just
that's
heartbeat.
A lot of
boop, boop,
people.
Boop, boop.
Yeah, it's weird. People who don't do art think, well, it covers the same amount of space. Surely it takes the same amount of time. I don't know. From whenever I do multi-panel pages like that, it doesn't work like that for me. It always seems to take a lot longer. But we get to see how, like we mentioned earlier, the heart that plays into it. Here's the heart of Chalcin. She actually is able to take out. Well, that is actually able to take out Vespers, allowing Heather to escape. And she meets Colin here, who ends up becoming he's an important character in the story.
Young Colin.
And young Colin, exactly. Was he based on anyone in particular?
Yeah, he's a fan. He's somebody who paid the money to be in the story. Of course, I don't know if he's going to like what I did to him, but that's the real Colin, the fan Colin. The version in Wreck Planet is fictionalized. Fictionalized Colin.
That Colin has had 20 years.
20 years,
living out in the Pine Barrens to sort of do things with them. Now this is the page I was bringing up earlier, where so Heather's got he's put all these buses. He's dug all these buses underground as a kind of like he's a prepper essentially. So he's got all these bunkers, functional bunkers now.
Just one.
Well, he's just got one. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he just buried one bus at this point. That's a pretty good idea.
Heather comes down there, and I don't know if you guys can make it out. I can't take the thing any closer because the focus won't work. But there's Ben. I mean, he's not there, obviously, but she sees him there. And I think that's sort of alluding to what you were talking about earlier, how what you're seeing on the page isn't necessarily
it's what's
saying. Actually happening in
but it's not as though anybody else can see Ben. She sees him.
Yeah.
And what does that when does Ben show up? That's the question that you just need to ask. When does Ben show up? And that's that'll tell you who he is.
Intriguing, very intriguing. And there we go. And then it also got a little thing here at the end. Says now we go fast forward, and Cyberfrog is back. And and that's where we're sitting at as we jump into the lead up for Wrecked Planet.
Yeah,
I'm excited. I think I'm definitely going to do a review. I don't normally do reviews, but I'm happy to do one of a book that I really like, and I can even look into it a little bit sort of put my critique hat on if you'd like me to, and point out anything that I thought,
Well, if you're gonna do a video right now, vague. Just don't no criticism. Just talk about your feelings about it, what you think about it. But yeah, don't spoil anything. Don't critique it until everybody's got the book and they've read it, and they they're going to be. Everybody needs an equal chance to talk about it and critique it after they've read it. So, but
Jasper's asking about Lily's father, and I had that question initially, and then I pulled that out because I don't want to. That's sort of coming more into, I think, what's going to be in Wrecked Planet and further on. So I didn't want to really bring that up because I don't know if we're trying to get into spoilers or anything like that. But I'm just going to leave that completely vague, and that's up to Ethan to discuss. I don't know if he's touched on that or anything, or if you want to. He's just going to stay mum. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, you will know all about Lily's father in Cyberfrog Heartsick Horror, which is a free book. If you back the first campaign, you're going to get this 20 pages, and it's the first story in it, Heartsick Horror, is about Lily's father and Heather's husband.
There you go.
So that'll answer that question for you. Yeah.
Ethan, I have some super chats here I need to get to. I know some of them were questions. So
sure, yeah,
if
let's
you
go.
Don't mind hanging around just for a little bit while I get to them. I'll just scroll back here and see if I can bring them up. Okay. All right. I think that was the first one. Yeah, I got that one. All right. So Canuck says Ethan is fake, so is his book and toys. They will never ship. Well, we just looked at them, Canuck, so I don't think you're right about that. Although I do agree with his Bancroft policy. He's the real winner of Comics Game. Well, I mean, that's your opinion, Canuck, and thank you for the super chat nonetheless. All right, scrolling down here. Jason Sandberg for 10. Thank you. He says, thanks for this deep dive. Looking forward to Wrecked Planet. You two champs have a great weekend, Jason. I think you were going to flip. I said this as well, Ethan. The art is, I'm gonna have to go back and just do a sort of like an art look through. There's so much detail in all the backgrounds and all the things and everything.
Thank you.
When you're reading the story,
when
you're reading the story, you're trying to, keep along with the pace and not stop.
When you have backers that give you enough money to be able to make sure that every panel is what it could possibly be, the best it could possibly be, you can make good stuff like this. And I really I would spend a day, sometimes 2 days on certain panels. Hard work. And I'm really grateful because the end result is what counts.
And massive shout out to Kyle, you two working together. He really captured what I think you were going for with the atmosphere and the ambience of certain scenes that needed to be the way they were. The night scenes out, the quiet scenes. He nailed them. So you guys working together is great. Internet Guy for 2 says, how to my favorite CGers. Love the stream. Project Stun Polly says, Bancroft, Chevy, or Ford, and why does Chevy suck? Sure, Ford. Okay, I'm not a big car guy. Ethan's more of a car guy than I am. David L. Ford. There you go. David L. for 5. Hail the forehead and the fat ass. Oh my god, you're right. Jesus, I thank you, David. You're right. You do get insulted wherever you go. I even saw some people throwing out some insults on Twitter because we were going to be talking about Blood Honey. It's like, that book's old. Why are you talking about something that's old? It's like you can't even
not
enjoy
old. It's
comic
just
books
coming
anymore.
out. Yeah.
No, we're talking about Blood Honey.
Oh, Blood Honey. Oh, yeah. I think it helps to take a refresher, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right before this. Yeah.
Project Done Poorly for 5. Uncle E. By Christmas, I'll have most Comicsgate books, and I will give them to the nephews and see what ones they like the most interesting to see. Thank you, Project Done Poorly. Scrolling. So many people here in the chat. Thank you, everyone. Please do give the stream a thumbs up. That will really help the channel out. And subscribe if you haven't. I think this is the most people I've ever had. I think we've had over 300 before once, but this is getting close to 400. Ryan Blue Thunder, Ethan, love your work. No rush on the auction stuff. We all got our hands full. May be out of the country for the next 3 or 4 weeks, so let's just DM to connect and make sure important works stay safe.
All right, Ryan.
There you go. Ryan is a very generous and supportive comic skater out there. 200 Watt Studios, now read through Wrecked Planet aloud. I don't think Ethan will appreciate that. No, that won't be happening.
I want you to have we worked so hard on this. I've read the book myself 25 times. I mean, I keep reading it going, am I imagining, or is this a pretty good book? I read it to Andrea again today. She cried in a couple of spots. There are a couple of moments that, I think are pretty heavy, and, people relate.
There's a lot of heart in that book. A lot of heart. That's something that I'm happy to talk about. Because you've got Cyber Frog is a cybernetic frog, and there's Sal, and he's a big, essentially kind of a dragon, and there's all these Rumblebee and Scorpio and everything. But at the same time, you've got this story, and it's kind of a bit like it's a post-apocalyptic story and the survivors, but then you've also got the young girl Lily, and there's a lot going on. I think you guys are going to flip. I think you guys are going to be it was more than worth the wait. So project's done poorly for 10. Dude, what the F is up with Nick Recator? Tell him he is now Jack Murphy. All right. And don't know Nick, but I don't know what's happening. But thank you for the super chat nonetheless. David L again, great stream, guys. Great refresher for Blood Honey. Thank you, David. And I think I've got 2 over on Rumble here. Get Over It Live says, Ethan's love for Cyberfrog always gets me so hyped for more, and all other CG books. Every creator should take note. And he also asks, are we ever going to see other worlds that the Vespers might have lost, or survivors of other planets coming to Earth to help? So that's a question for Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying very mum. I'm exactly the same. I'm like, yeah. Lucent. Yeah. It's, trust me, it's things are happening in there. Dojo Kun, I love the look at Cyberfrog. Thanks, Bancroft. Thank you so much, Dojo. Ethan, I want to thank you so much for coming on and doing this. I really dig this sort of content, get into the stories and actually talk about the books. I'm excited to do more of it going forward. And thanks again for coming and hanging out.
Yeah, my pleasure. That was fun, and I'm really excited. I can't wait. I'm so glad you liked Wreck Planet. Oh my god! But yeah, I can't wait to hear what everybody's reaction is, because
I noticed you sent it to me at right when I was about to go to bed. So I did 10 pages. Then I was like, I can't do another. It's
I figured, I was like, pages. He's asleep. I was waiting for your reaction. I was like, he's sleeping. He's not gonna get. But it's important. I want to. Obviously, we all do. We all want to do Comicsgate proud. We're being looked at. This is why it's tougher. We're being looked at by a lot of creepy, envious eyes over in the mainstream that just want to tear us down. And one of the things that they always say is Comicsgate hasn't done anything, as good as Marvel or DC yet. That's bullshit. We all know that's true, but not true. But I want to blow them out of the water. I just want to destroy them. I want to create something that's classic, something that'll stand the test of time, and something that's every bit as good as everything I ever did at DC, and maybe even better. So I want to make everyone here proud. You guys invested a lot of money in this book. It's like, I really do believe you give us money because you want us to make you proud of us and proud of what Comicsgate stands for. So I'm gonna work. I'm gonna keep that in mind every time I sit down and work on a comic book. I'm just like, I'm doing this for 14,000 comic skaters who just want something better, and that's on all of us to do. So hope you like it.
Sounds fantastic, man. I think they're gonna love it. You've gotten some great response from some big names out there. So I think people are going to be really, really happy. All right, Ethan, thank you again. The biggest thank you of all goes out. Wow, 400 people. This is a record for me. Thank you all so much. You are absolutely the most spectacular, incredible, amazing, and phenomenal, sexiest chat in all of CG. Wow, we just got a $20 super chat from Smoot. I'm looking forward to the sequel to Lucent more than any other book. Thank you so much, Jason. That's high praise indeed. I can't thank you enough. I'm doing the same thing, and like I'm putting love and crazy draughtism attention into some of these panels. Sometimes my brain turns off, but I'm just doing the same thing. I just want you guys to absolutely love the next book and anything that I'm putting out after that. All right, that is it for me. I will be over on Camels in a couple of hours or so for Camel Nights. Please do make sure you go over and check that out. We have a lot of fun over there. But until then, I hope you have a great night. All right, bye.
Individually, we